normally nobody's looking to shank you. When you get into the higher institutions, when people are doing, a ton of time and there's no way you can benefit them, then you got a little more problem.
Maybe if he'd be in a camp type situation, that's a possibility. But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he had to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that he may commit suicide.
Obviously, he's disappointed, although he really shouldn't be. I think, a 4-year sentence here with already credit for the year or so that he has in, I think he did very well with respect to all of the drama and all of the circumstance around this trial. There was a lot of bad stuff out there, and I'm not saying, I'm not passing judgment on that, but it just looked really bad. And he could have gotten up to 10 years or 11 years. So I think the judge, took everything into consideration. I think his family today made a very good plea for him, and I think he did very well. That's my opinion.
So in your experience, like your own experience and other, inmates that you've seen go through it and then show back up at the cell block, how do they take this? Do they bury their head in the pillow and cry, or do they keep their head held high and just pack up their stuff and wait for their assigned new prison? Like, tell me everything.
Well, everybody's different. I'm sure he went back was somewhat disappointed, so he's probably, dwelling on that. Hey, it could have been differently. Maybe I should have gotten out. Maybe he's a little bit upset, a little bit angry. I get it. All those emotions come into play.
When Sean Diddy Combs got slapped with 50 months in federal prison, the world froze in shock. Fans couldn't believe it. But according to Michael Franzese, a former mob boss from the infamous Colombo crime family who's done real time himself, the biggest battle for Diddy isn't behind him yet, it's just getting started. Insiders close to the situation say Diddy's legal team actually pulled off a miracle. The man was staring down the barrel of a nightmare sentence, yet somehow he walked away with just a little over 4 years.
He's got to get ready. He'll spend a couple of weeks there until they designate him to a new facility. And he'll be a lot better off in prison than he is in the federal jail. At least there you can move around and you got some freedom on the yard and things like that. My thought is he'll collect himself, get himself together. There are ways for him to improve himself. They have the Bureau of Prisons now has a drug program. And if you're allowed to get into that drug program, you can knock as much as 18 months off your sentence. Now, I don't know if he'll qualify, if they'll allow him to go in, but he'll probably start to think about, okay, what can I do to reduce my time now? That's what everybody thinks when you get in there. Is there any way we can better ourselves? He's thinking about what facility they're going to send him to. I'm sure he spoke to his lawyers and he asked his lawyers to put in a facility that's close to his home, close to his family, a low or medium level. I don't think he'll get into a camp.
Can you though? Does your request actually count? I mean, I thought the feds just put you where it works for them. I didn't think you get a say in it.
Well, here's the thing. You could ask the judge to recommend. The Bureau of Prisons doesn't have to go along with the judge's recommendation, but it does help a little bit. They do try to sometimes satisfy the judge's request. You can put in a request, and sometimes they'll honor it, sometimes they won't.
The judge reportedly took everything into account. The chaos, the nonstop headlines, and even those emotional pleas from Diddy's family in court. Some people inside the legal world are whispering that he dodged what could have been a much longer stretch behind bars. Now here's where it gets real. When someone of Diddy's status gets sentenced, there's a whole process to figure out where they'll do their time. Judges can make recommendations, sure, but the final call? That's all up to the Bureau of Prisons. And with the level of fame and heat surrounding Diddy's case, one thing's for sure, he's not getting the club fed treatment. Those cushy minimum security camps you hear about, open lawns, no fences, and weekend barbecues, yeah, that's not happening here. Diddy's too high profile, too controversial, and way too big of a target. Insiders say he's way more likely to end up in a medium security joint where things are a whole lot more serious. Franzese, who's seen it all from open camps to hard time lockups, explained it perfectly.
Is the camp the lowest security and therefore more paddle and tennis and all the other things and what they call club fed or camp cupcake?
Yeah, they moved me to a camp by accident at one point, and there's no fences or anything like that, and I wasn't there for too long because they realized they made a mistake and put me back in the medium security. But they tell you when you get there, listen, there's no fences. If you want to leave, you can leave, but when we catch you, we're going to add another 5 years onto your sentence. And while I was in that camp for 2 months, each month somebody ran away. I mean, they always try to do that. But yeah, he's thinking of that. Yeah, he's thinking of that. But you know, a medium security is not that
so
bad.
let me quickly go back though. Go back to that piece about he's high profile, so he won't get a camp. Why wouldn't he? I thought in a camp nobody's going to shank him because again, they want out.
You know, the overriding factor there, I believe, is he's a guy with a lot of money. And I'll tell you, this happened to me when I went in there because of the profile I had, because of the way they wrote me up. You know, I had everybody and their brother inmate trying to do a deal with me when I got out, you know, a business deal. They need money. You know, because of the fact that he's a money guy, I think he's going to have more friends than he will enemies. And in a medium security, normally nobody's looking to shank you. When you get into the higher institutions, when people are doing, you know, a ton of time and there's no way you can benefit them, then you got a little more problem. But in a medium security, I don't think he'll have an issue at all. I really don't. He can be too much of a benefit to inmates that are always looking for something. And he could be a golden ticket for some people, at least in their mind.
Minimum security prisons might look calm from the outside, but one mistake or one bad call can send you right back to a tougher world in seconds. Michael Franzese made it clear that where Diddy ends up won't matter as much as how he carries himself once he's inside. Because once those prison gates close, all that fame and fortune won't mean a thing. The real test starts when he's stripped of everything. No entourage, no luxury, no control. The silence, the isolation, and that raw reality of being cut off from the world, that's where a man either breaks down or builds himself back up. Right now, Diddy's legal team is fighting hard to land him somewhere safer, close to family, with a chance to rebuild instead of crumble. But not everyone's buying that second chance narrative. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, came forward saying he doesn't feel 1 ounce of sympathy for his old boss. In his words, Diddy's finally getting the karma that's been circling for years. Just this Monday, Diddy's attorneys sent a letter straight to Judge Aaron Subramanian begging for a specific placement, FCI Fort Dix, a low-security federal prison in southern New Jersey. Attorney Tenny Garagos explained that this facility could actually help Diddy face his issues head-on through a special program called RDAP, the Residential Drug Abuse Program. It's an intense 9 to 12-month course that not only helps inmates get clean but can shave up to a full year off their sentence. That's major for someone serving just over 3 years. But Gene Deal isn't having it. He told reporters he doesn't think Diddy deserves that kind of leniency, calling him too far gone and beyond saving.
The artist got him dropping to his knees at the time of the verdict, crying on the chair. My heart goes out and it says, "Come and feed them beans." I can care less about his sadness. I can care less about him being in pain. I can care less about what he has to be faced with in court or in jail now. I don't have no remorseful feelings for him, bro. You understand? This is somebody that at one time I would have given my own life for.
Still, Fort Dix has a long list of recognizable names who've done time there, and Diddy's team clearly sees the upside. Close to his kids, regular visits, and maybe, just maybe, a shot at genuine redemption. But not everyone's cheering for Diddy to land at Fort Dix. Christopher Zukis, author of the Federal Prison Handbook and a consultant who's helped hundreds of high-profile inmates navigate the system, warned that Fort Dix isn't the peaceful place people imagine. It's unpredictable. He revealed that the facility's been struggling with gang tension, contraband smuggling, and serious staff shortages. In other words, things can flip from calm to chaos real fast, and that could spell major trouble for Diddy. Word is, a lot of inmates across America still idolize Tupac, and many inside Fort Dix believe Diddy had something to do with the events that took Pac's life. Some even see his arrival as personal, like payback time. That tension could make his stay way more dangerous than anyone expects. To make it worse, rumors are swirling that Keefe D, the man tied to Tupac's case, is ready to spill everything. Some insiders claim that Diddy's arrest over Pac's murder could happen a lot sooner than anyone thought if Keefe decides to talk. That's why Diddy's legal team is walking on eggshells, because one wrong move or one word from the wrong person could change everything again. Still, low-security prisons like Fort Dix do offer more freedom, open grounds, movement, and a bit more trust. But that freedom comes with a warning: mess up and you lose it all in a heartbeat. The Bureau of Prisons will have the final say on where Diddy goes, and while a judge can recommend, it doesn't mean the system will listen. The Department of Justice already made it clear they won't step in or influence the placement, so wherever Diddy ends up, he better pray he doesn't cross paths with any Tupac loyalists inside, because the energy in there could turn dark fast.
Say, yo, listen here, man. This guy's life might be danger over here because people think that he has something to do with Pac. People think he has something to do with Biggie. Some of the people are still mad that he made Making of the Band walk to Brooklyn from, to get the cheesecake, and just around the corner from the Cheesecake Factory. So, Junior's. So it might be some dumb shit. So y'all need to get him out of here and ship him to Jersey because somebody gonna kill him over here. Those are good arguments, if you want to call it, but it's bullshit. He gonna get the same treatment no matter how much money he got from them correction officers. Because if they don't and they get caught giving him preferential treatment, they gonna lose their job.
So you feel like Pac fans will try to do something to him?
Pac and Biggie fans. He can have issues with both of them because a lot of people think, because of the statement that Keefe D made, that he did something to Pac. A lot of people know or think that because of Biggie leaving, they finding out that Biggie was leaving Bad Boy, that he may have had something to do with Biggie. People feel that way. You hear it all the time. You see it all the time on the chats and all that stuff.
During his sentencing, witnesses say Diddy broke down in court, tears streaming as a video of his life played for everyone to see. He even turned to the crowd and said softly, "I want to apologize again to Cassie Ventura for any harm I caused, calling his past behavior shameful and sick." After that emotional courtroom moment, insiders say Diddy's entire image has started to crumble faster than anyone expected. The man once seen as untouchable is now under a microscope, and the streets, the blogs, and even former associates are dissecting every single move he's ever made. Some of his old business partners have quietly started backing away, pulling investments, and erasing ties like they never knew him. The silence from his usual celebrity circle is loud, and it's making people wonder, what do they know that we don't? Meanwhile, behind the scenes, federal sources are reportedly digging deeper into his old network. Those exclusive parties, the private flights, the hush-hush deals. Every name connected to him is being examined, and that's got Hollywood shaking. A few insiders even claim subpoenas are already being prepared for people close to the Bad Boy empire. One producer allegedly said, "Everyone's deleting messages like it's 2003 all over again." That's how serious it's gotten. And let's be real, Diddy's brand isn't just music. He's tied to fashion, liquor, television, and even major sports endorsements. All of that sits on reputation, and right now, his reputation is in free fall. Sponsors are backing off, partnerships are on pause, and brands are quietly rewriting contracts to make sure his name gets removed from everything public. For a man who built his empire on fame, image, and power, this is a nightmare that money can't fix. But here's the twist. Some people in the industry believe this downfall isn't just about legal trouble. They think Diddy's collapse could expose a bigger system, a secret culture of protection, silence, and manipulation that's ruled entertainment for decades. And if even a fraction of that comes to light, it won't just be Diddy falling, it'll be a domino effect across the entire celebrity world. For now, Diddy's facing the fight of his life, both legally and spiritually. He's gone from penthouses to prison cells, from red carpets to concrete floors, and it's forcing everyone watching to ask, how much truth has the industry been hiding all along? Now here's where things start getting even wilder. Insiders are whispering that Diddy's downfall might be sparking panic among some of the biggest names in entertainment. People who were once all smiles around him are now ducking interviews, skipping appearances, and cleaning up their social media like ghosts.
It was really telling, not just in what happened today, and the pretrial motions by the defense, when they came out and they said Cassie, Jane, Mia, they weren't victims and they didn't have a statutory right to address the court. Judge Subramanian came out and really took offense, said it was inappropriate. And I think the defense missed an opportunity here. I don't think there was any world where he was going to get time served, but to make this about Sean Diddy Combs and not about the victims, 5 different lawyers testified for the defense. Only one of them mentioned any of the victims.
One insider said, "Nobody wants to be caught in a photo with him right now. It's career suicide." That's how toxic the situation has become. And if that wasn't enough, whispers in the industry say federal agents aren't stopping at Diddy, they're looking into his entire circle. We're talking about producers, stylists, assistants, and even high-end event planners who were always around during those infamous parties. Every single person who benefited from that bad boy lifestyle might soon have to explain how deep they were really involved. Some insiders even claim that certain celebrity lawyers have already started negotiating cooperation deals, just in case things get ugly. The real shocker, though? Word is, some of Diddy's old business partners have started quietly leaking information to distance themselves. People who once called him brother are now acting like they barely knew him. The same folks who built empires off his name are jumping ship faster than ever. That kind of silence speaks louder than any statement could. But here's the eerie part. Hollywood knows this case could open floodgates. Because if one superstar mogul gets taken down and exposes how the system really works, others might start falling too. One source close to the investigation even hinted, once those recordings and messages start surfacing, you're gonna see faces you never thought would be connected. That's the kind of storm people can't PR their way out of. Things are spiraling even faster now, and what's coming out next might shake the whole industry to its core. People inside the business are saying this isn't just another celebrity scandal, it's an exposure era. The kind where secrets that were once locked behind mansion gates are finally being dragged into the light. Some insiders claim there are videos, messages, and recordings that could blow open years of hidden behavior, and the whispers say federal investigators already have their hands on some of it. Behind closed doors, power players are scrambling, executives are deleting old emails, assistants are switching phones, and PR teams are working overtime to rewrite history. One source close to a major label said, "You can feel the fear in the air. People who used to laugh at rumors are suddenly getting real quiet." That silence isn't confidence, it's panic.
A lot online. How you feel about the people that say that you should be worried if Diddy get out?
Motherfuckers need something to say, bro. I'm not gonna worry about somebody that I bodyguard. I'm not gonna worry about somebody that I bodyguard. And God knows I could bodyguard myself with his blessings. I could bodyguard myself with his blessings, bro. I'm not worried about that. Nothing beats an ambush, and I know that. But I'm not worried about his shit. People just need to talk about something. They want to have something to say, man. Oh, G ain't got to be worried, something like that. So, shouldn't I have been worried when he was out here on the street? When he was out here on the street, I should have been worried.
And get this. Industry veterans are saying what's happening to Diddy could be the start of something way bigger. They're calling it the unmasking, a moment when the curtain finally drops on the darker side of fame. Private jets, secret parties, celebrity alliances, it's all under review now. If Diddy falls, he might not fall alone, and some of the names being whispered behind the scenes are shocking. Meanwhile, Diddy's team is trying to hold the line. They're claiming this is a media witch hunt, that he's being targeted because of his influence, but even fans are torn. Some are defending him, while others are convinced the truth is finally catching up. The court of public opinion has already started the trial, and this one's being judged by millions, not just a jury. You can almost feel it. The industry's tension, the quiet calls, the uneasy smiles at award shows. Everyone's wondering who's next. Because if those rumored files ever leak, they won't just expose Diddy, they'll expose a whole system built on power, silence, and fear. In court, Diddy's voice cracked as he said he'd been stripped down to nothing. "I hate myself right now. I'm really sorry for it all," he told the judge, tears in his eyes. But not everyone's buying it. Many believe those apologies were more performance than repentance. Even Charlemagne recently claimed that Cassie knows way too much about Diddy and what really went down behind closed doors, and that he'd never just let her walk away and expose everything. That statement alone sent chills through the industry. Prosecutors, though, weren't moved one bit. They told the court that Diddy's so-called remorse sounded hollow, pointing to reports that he already had appearances lined up just days after his sentencing.
I've never seen that introduced in a sentencing. I don't know if everybody has the capabilities to introduce that. You know what the problem with that video is? Everything you saw in that video, hugging people, charity events, he was committing crimes. He was committing crimes while doing all that.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with that. And that was a big theme that came out today, too. It was the idea of, you say you're sorry. You say you will never do this again. I hope you're right. The problem is every time you said that, when you made the apology video after the Cassie tape came out, afterwards, you beat up James.
Let's just remind the audience.
Yeah.
The video of him beating up Cassie came out. First of all, the allegations of him beating up Cassie
Yes.
came out. He denies it, says it's a lie.
Correct.
Then the video comes out showing who the real liar is. Then after the video comes out, he makes this big mea culpa on Instagram where he says, I'm mortified, I'm horrified, I'm going to seek therapy.
Right.
I'm a changed man.
And then afterwards, he beats up Jane,
A
one of the
month
victims,
later.
one of the victims in this case. And when he was arrested, comes to New York to surrender himself in the hotel room, was evidence of a freak-off, the main allegation in this case. So the idea is, how can the judge believe that he's different? Now, I will say this. I'm going to actually counter Nima a bit, even though he was 100% right. I think that him talking about his past, talking about the trauma in his life, his children speaking in court today, I think that
Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic didn't hold back. She called his behavior the height of arrogance, saying Diddy only respects the law when it benefits him. Legal analysts now believe that his defense strategy, meant to soften his image, might have actually made things worse in the long run. When Judge Subramanian finally handed down the decision, it landed right in the middle, shorter than the 11 years prosecutors demanded, but longer than what Diddy's high-powered defense team hoped for. Now it's all up to the Bureau of Prisons to decide where he lands next. If his lawyers pull it off, Fort Dix might become his new reality, a low-security world far from the bright lights he once ruled. And that reality's about to hit hard. No more red carpets, boardrooms, or luxury jets. Instead, it's chow halls, uniform schedules, and the kind of silence that forces reflection. But the bigger question is, what happens after? Will Diddy try to rebuild, or will he turn his anger toward those who spoke out like Gene Deal and others who blew the whistle? For a man who spent decades controlling every room he walked into, this time he won't be running anything. The empire's gone, the mask has cracked, and for once in his life, Diddy's not calling the shots anymore. So don't go anywhere, because this story's far from over. Smash that like button if you're keeping up, tap subscribe if you're part of the real ones, and hit that notification bell, because the next drop might be the biggest revelation Hollywood's ever seen.